Hi, everybody. Carla Archer here, helping you work on your wellness. Hope everybody's doing great today. This morning I was getting ready for the day and I was doing my hair and I was taking a look at some of the grays that are coming in. And I stopped for a minute and I had to think to myself, now, how long has it been since I had a haircut? And when's the last time I colored my hair? And I figured out it's been 14 weeks. How many of you guys are out there in that same boat, in that same situation? I was typically at this stage cutting and coloring every 5 weeks because as my hair has slowly been transitioning to grayer, I'm finding that there's certain spots that just don't hold the color like they used to. And, I'm 3 weeks away from what would typically be my next appointment. And at this stage, I have a hair appointment booked, but it's not until June 10th. So I've got a little ways to go yet. And if you guys are like me, I started wondering to myself, okay, is this the time to start going gray? And should I do it? And, it's kind of scary. And it's, because there's so much, I think, attached to having gray hair. And for many of us, it's a sign of aging. And, there's some social impact to that as well. And it sort of makes us stop and think. So I've really been thinking about it a lot lately. I'm seeing it every day. I'm seeing it come in. And like I said, I'm 14 weeks along now. So it's coming in pretty full force at this stage. And I'm really discovering more so what my natural color is. Now, my hair has always been a little bit of a sandy brown color. If I go out in the sun, it bleaches blonde really easily. So I've just always kept up like a light blonde over top and the highlights come in on their own. So it hasn't been a lot of work to maintain the color that I've had. It's sort of been partly natural and with a little bit of assistance, as I like to say. So like anything that I typically talk to you guys about, I'm always thinking, now, why do we go gray in the first place? And, for some people that you'll see that they go gray when they're quite young or, maybe even in their 20s, their 30s. And some people don't go gray until much later in life. So, of course, I had to do a little bit of research and figure out why do we go gray in the first place. I found a really great little 3-minute video that explains why we go gray that I'm going to share with you guys. If you just want to stay tuned for a second, I'll get it going. I know it was really helpful for me to figure out why we go gray, and then we'll talk a little bit more when I'm done.
But scientists have finally identified a gene involved in the hair graying process. What does this mean, and how does your hair actually go from color to gray? Watch and weep. Geneticists recently examined the DNA of more than 6,000 people and found specific genes that influence things like baldness, beard thickness, hair curliness, and even unibrowness. But the find that got the most attention was a particular variation in the IRF4 gene that affects when your hair goes gray. Finding this specific graying variation in the gene could help scientists develop products to slow the graying process. Or speed it up, I suppose, if you want to be a silver fox or avant-garde hipster. But we all actually start out gray, in a way. Before your hair pops out of your scalp, it's completely white. It gets its color from chemistry. Specifically, a group of pigment molecules called melanin, which also determine your skin tone and eye color. For hair, there's eumelanin that creates dark shades, and pheomelanin that produces lighter hair colors. The proportion of these two types determines your and everyone else's hair color. How that color gets into your initially colorless hair is up to your follicles. Every hair follicle in your scalp contains cells called melanocytes, which produce melanin. As hair grows in the follicle, melanocytes inject melanin pigments into your hair cells that contain keratin, a protein that's also in your skin and fingernails. So as your hair grows out of your head, it gets dyed with its natural hue. Over time, our melanocytes produce less pigment, so our hair starts to lighten as we age. Scientists have recently found that as we get older, our hair follicles start accumulating hydrogen peroxide, the same stuff people use to bleach their hair. Some hydrogen peroxide is normal. We actually make our own H2O2 as melanocytes color our hair. Enzymes, especially catalase, break down hydrogen peroxide and keep its concentration in check. But things get out of whack when older follicles can't generate enough catalase. Higher concentrations of hydrogen peroxide attack tyrosinase, an important enzyme in melanin production. No melanin, no color in your hair. If you haven't gone gray yet, you probably will around the same age as your parents did. But what about factors outside of age and genetics? A recent study suggests that smoking can result in early onset gray. And people are always saying stress brings on the gray, right? Just look at how gray presidents get while they're in office. Some researchers say emotional stress could accelerate what's called oxidative stress, the damage caused by reactive oxygen species like hydrogen peroxide. But others contend there isn't solid scientific evidence backing this up yet. I guess you could call all of these hypotheses a gray area. At any rate, it's probably not worth stressing about going gray anyway. It's completely natural and you can totally rock the look. Share a pic of your favorite gray-haired celebrity or your own cool silver do in the comments.
So that really helped me to better understand, okay, what is the process to start with as to why we go gray? It was really cool, actually, the way she described it too, going back right to birth and how we are born with white hair at that time, or before our hair comes out, that it's not pigmented. Some babies are born with a lot of dark hair, yes. So back before that anyways. And I really believe that everybody deserves to do what they are comfortable with. So when we have the question about should you go gray or not, it's really an individual choice. We need to be respectful of that and encourage people who maybe make that decision. And if they don't, that's cool too, because we want people to be comfortable, because it's really all about you and how you perceive yourself and your self-confidence and what makes you feel confident. And so making the choice for you is really important. But I have a few benefits to share with you. Why you maybe would consider going gray. And one of the benefits is no more coloring. And for those of us who do color our hair, we know that this can take some time and it can be costly. So definitely if you stop coloring your hair, this is going to save you some time and a little bit of money too. Now, by not coloring your hair, it's a little bit healthier for your hair as well, because you're no longer putting all of those chemicals on your head to help change the color. And also your hair will be less damaged once it's grown out. And the third thing that you can do that is beneficial for going gray is that it may increase your confidence. I've been listening to a lot of videos about women who have gone gray and them just talking about it. And for many of them, they've talked about how empowering it is to go gray and to kind of own that. And again, you know what, that goes back to every individual. So it's completely up to you. If coloring your hair is more empowering for you, do that. But this is just something that came up quite often with a number of women who were talking about when they made the choice to go gray. Now, some considerations that you might have to make when you are deciding to go gray is that it may be a little bit of a process. Now, depending on how long your hair is, how gray your hair is, and that growing out stage, that might be a little bit of a process too. A couple of the things that you can do is get your hair texture. The hair texture might change. Sorry, this is something else that may happen to you too. With some gray hairs, they can be a little more wiry or coarse. So it may just change the way that your hair is for you. And the third thing that is a consideration is that you might need some different products to help manage your hair. And as well, a lot of people were talking about how you may need some new colors for makeup, because with your hair changing color, your skin tone will naturally change. So maybe some of the makeup colors that you selected from before, the deeper, darker colors might not suit your skin tone quite as well when your hair has gone to gray. So just a few things to consider about that too. Now, I have a few tips for you if you do decide to go through this process, is to get some gray highlights that will help with the transition. So again, depending on how long your hair is and how much gray is coming in, getting some gray highlights to help out with this transition might be a good solution for you. You may consider a shorter haircut. So even for myself, I'm thinking, okay, in 14 weeks, how much is my hair? My hair is growing like this much already. So I'd be taking a decent amount off if I cut it back the way that I had it before. Or maybe you just think this is the time just to go totally fresh. I'm going to cut it really short and just grow it back out in its natural color. So just depends on how brave you feel and how open you are for that kind of a big change if you're going that direction. And the third thing to do, a tip during this process, is to own it. Not only are you on this journey if you are transitioning to gray hair, but this is a very natural process too. So when we can just own that and be connected with it and be okay with it, then that might make it just a little bit easier for us as well. So regardless of how you're doing this, implementing it correctly can make this transition for you that much easier. So by evaluating the reasons why you would decide to go gray, if there's some benefits to the cost savings for some of the health benefits, how you feel about that, and doing ultimately what the right choice is for you. So if you guys would like to join me with your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you. I'm seriously considering at this time just transitioning to the gray. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this. If you've done that before, or if you're thinking about it too, comment below in the comment section and let me know how you feel about going gray. So I hope this helped you guys today. I know it's a hot topic out there, especially with many of us who have not seen our stylist for a very long period of time. And we may be thinking, maybe this is the time to go. And also, gray has become kind of a thing. It's a popular color for even younger people to have in their hair. And so maybe this is the time to go, because it will be very fashionable to have your hair gray, like many of the younger people are doing right now with theirs. So comment below with your thoughts, and thanks again for joining me today. Take good care.